You know, I tell you, the ACLU, President Trump could have the ACLU shut down tomorrow. Pull up the news story, guys. Black unemployment reaches an all-time low. Pull it up. So Trump becomes president, black unemployment reaches an all-time low, and then the ACLU has the unmitigated nerve to tell people that Trump is bad for communities of color. The ACLU is so anti-American, so anti-truth, so anti-nonprofit organization that doesn't force their political opinions down people's throats. It's time to shut the ACLU down, President Trump, please.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
I remember when the liberals lost their mind, too. It was right around the election of President Trump. All right, we're going to do a news blitz here. Final segment this week of the War Room. Let's just get right into it. So you've got the stories surfacing now about Mueller wanting to interview Trump. Trump said he'd be okay with that. Then Trump's lawyers advised against that. No, President Trump, do not talk to Robert Mueller. They've been spying on you. They've gathered all the details and information they can. This is a trap. He's trying to entrap you, just like they did to Flynn and just like they did to Manafort. President Trump, please do not give Mueller the interview he wants. He will entrap you. Now, why doesn't Mueller go after Peter Strzok, the FBI agent that Trump suggests is guilty of treason? So now Trump talks about libel laws, calls out the FBI for being guilty of treason, and I'm telling you, these are small signals. I think Trump is signaling that we're going to get them. We're going to get them. We're looking into this, and we're going to get them. And Trump is aware, I think more than he's letting on, of the treasonous acts by Hillary Clinton and her cohorts with the dirty dossier. Maybe you've noticed this, maybe you haven't. I don't watch this television show, Madame Secretary, but Madame Secretary tries to impeach mentally unstable president in Trump-like plot. I will say that I've noticed that this is something, I mean, how many stories, I'm sure it's just a coincidence that all of these movies and TV shows are making plots depicting a male president getting removed from office. I'm sure that's just a coincidence. I'm sure that's not predictive programming. I'm sure that's not propaganda. No, I'm sure that's just a coincidence that all of these television shows and movies like The Golden Circle, the Kingsman, the new Kingsman movie. Yeah, at the end of all these movies and television shows, the unstable male, white male president gets removed for a woman. Yeah, that's not them, pushing their propaganda on you. That's not a agenda at all. That's just a coincidence. Just ignore that. Trump's approval rating is at 46% right now, and that is looking good, and I think it's only going to be on the rise. Why? Well, because of this story right here and others like it. 90% of workers likely to see more money in their paycheck next month. Now, think about this. Walmart increases their minimum wage. Well, they're going to increase their minimum wage to $11. You've got all these companies giving raises, all of these companies giving bonuses. All these people are expecting more money now because of the tax cut. Think about if this happened when Obama was president. If Walmart raised their minimum wage to $11 when Obama was president because of something he did, every reporter would be outside of Walmart asking for comment from Walmart workers. Every reporter from CNN would be talking about how great President Obama is helping out the workers at Walmart. They'd be on the street. They'd be asking people at Walmart. It'd be the huge story. But Trump does it, and he's a racist because he thinks Haiti might be a hellhole. Strongest holiday sales since Great Recession, up 5.5%, topping industry's forecast. And they're also forecasting a 4% GDP growth next year. I think a 5% GDP growth could be possible by 2020 if we maintain the current stretch we're on. I know that that's quite a prediction, but I mean, that's what we're looking at. Stocks hit record and broad rally. Aw, but Facebook tumbles on newsfeed overhaul. Aw, poor Zuckerberg. Oh, your little liberal newsfeed with the algorithm that censors conservatives isn't taking well. Oh, I'm so sad. I'm so sad that Facebook's stocks are plummeting on the day that every other stock is hitting record highs. I'm so sad for Facebook. Steny Hoyer calls Pelosi's 5 white guys remark offensive. You know what? I don't have time for this clip, but apparently Nancy Pelosi is battier and dingier than she's ever been. I know if you can believe that. And she had some slip up when she, I mean, she's look, this woman is obviously mentally deranged in a sad way, you know, maybe has dementia, some Alzheimer's or something, but I mean, she's obviously not all there. I mean, this is a sad, doddering woman who can probably even barely even think herself through the day. And she's such an elitist. See, this is just shows you how elitist these Democrats really are. Millionaire. She works in government her whole life. Somehow she's a millionaire. Oh, must be her pizza shop. Millionaire Nancy Pelosi trashes tax cuts, calls $1,000 bonuses crumbs. See, don't you see how elitist Nancy Pelosi is? This is how all these Democrats think. Now, the truth is they'll just insult anything. Again, Trump cures cancer. Why didn't he cure AIDS? Trump rescues 98 cats from a burning building. Why did he let one cockroach die? So that's just what you expect from the media. But I forget the number, but it's like half of Americans don't even have $1,000 in savings. So $1,000 is not crumbs, but to the elitist like Nancy Pelosi, it is. You know, I saw this story and I wanted to report on it because Donald Trump, so far, Donald Trump, after his first year in office, has signed less bills into law than the last 10 presidents. So when they want to say he's Hitler, when they want to say he's an authoritarian, guess what? It's the exact opposite. Again, President Trump has signed less bills into law than the previous 10 presidents. Trump is a real president. He's not a dictator, and he doesn't act unilaterally. So I salute President Trump for not being an authoritarian. But then I also say, you know what, President Trump, maybe it's time to really start signing some bills because everything that Obama did to destroy this country. St. Louis alt-left militia leader calls on radicals to dox and show up at legislators' houses. So that's nice. That's real nice. And then you've got the PRDC STL on Twitter talking about training with firearms to arm their communities. So that's kind of funny how they're kind of going to the conservative thing about learning how to use firearms, but they want to use it against us. So that's kind of the irony there. And then, of course, in Austin, Antifa is allowed to point guns at me, but then a conservative has a gun and he gets arrested. I mean, that's just a true story. Have you ever heard of anything like this before? The hashtag Black Panther Challenge. So you've got a GoFundMe account raising tens of thousands of dollars to take Harlem children to see the Black Panther. Now, I have no idea what the Black Panther is about, but I can only assume after reading this story and seeing the agenda that this is, I mean, what is it? Why go see the Black Panther? Unless there's some political message behind it. It's a comic book film. Why go see the Black Panther? Why fund tens of thousands of dollars to take children to see the Black Panther unless there's some sort of political agenda behind it? I don't remember. I have never in my life heard of people raising money to take kids to go see a comic book film. Have you ever heard of anything like this? So why is that going on? My theory, there's some serious propaganda in the Black Panther, and they want the African-American youth to see it. Sad. It's really sad. You know, I mean, you want to talk about the real racists, folks. It is the left. I mean, it's every time. Here's the latest from the ACLU turds. 1 year ago, many of us marched in the streets, united by sadness, anger, and resolve. We knew then, and we still know now, that the fight for civil liberties and civil rights can't be stamped out by one election or one man. And it hasn't, unless you're talking about Obama. The threat that Donald Trump poses to immigrants, women, communities of color, and the most vulnerable has been realized and is hurting so many families. And then they go on and they don't actually provide you any instance of racism. They don't give you an example of how Trump is racist. They don't give you an example of how communities of color are struggling. Oh my God. You know, I tell you, the ACLU, President Trump could have the ACLU shut down tomorrow. Pull up the news story, guys. Black unemployment reaches an all-time low. Pull it up. So Trump becomes president, black unemployment reaches an all-time low, and then the ACLU has the unmitigated nerve to tell people that Trump is bad for communities of color. The ACLU is so anti-American, so anti-truth, so anti-nonprofit organization that doesn't force their political opinions down people's throats. It's time to shut the ACLU down, President Trump. Please. Go ahead, Harrison, you had something?
I was just going to say, I think the ACLU gave a really good slogan for the liberals there, united by sadness. I think that sounds really nice.
Yeah, united by mental impairment might be more accurate, but sadness of their own reality, perhaps. It's just a joke. I mean, how does the ACLU get away with saying that Trump is negatively affecting communities of color while communities of color are doing better under President Trump than they ever did under Obama? All right, so kneeling protest planned for the Vikings-Saints playoff game today. A group of people, they take a knee group is going to demonstrate outside of the stadium. NBC says Super Bowl commercials are nearly sold out, topping $5 million per 30-second spot. Folks, if you want to hit the NFL where it hurts, don't watch the Super Bowl. Here's what happens. They sell these $5 million ads. If they don't hit the targeted number, they have to pay the money back. That will cripple the NFL. Boycott the Super Bowl if you can't boycott any other NFL games. That does it for the War Room this week. I sign off. You stay classy, Info Warriors.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
Thank you all for coming together to represent our party at its best.
I am standing in the middle of 1984 civilization.
Let resistance equal progress.
Yeah, this kind of feels fascist to me, yet they're out here protesting fascism. They put it in their music videos. They hold up decapitated heads, plays in the New York Public Theater.
Are you trying to fight me, bro? Yeah, trying to engage in political discourse with these people, and you've seen the responses time and time again. And this represents the strength, the courage, and the bravery that we can have freedom and prosperity.
The War Room. Infowars.com/show.
Support this network, and not only support us, but trigger the verified libtards on Twitter. They had an absolute meltdown a few days ago. They found an ad that I had cut for Brain Force, which, by the way, you should also get at InfoWarsStore.com. Always use the opportunity to promote it even more. They had a meltdown over an ad that I cut in April, and they found it like it was some secret, and they were like, oh my God, this is the funniest thing ever. So they literally had an autistic screeching fit over an ad of me promoting Brain Force, which is a nootropic, which like literally half the people in Silicon Valley take, which everybody has their different brand of. Oh, but when InfoWars does it, it's bad and it's funny somehow. If that's the best they've got, we advertise products that got 5-star independent reviews that you see right there on InfoWarsStore.com. Brain Force Plus. They had an absolute meltdown. It was hilarious. They wrote Vice.com. Listen, if this is the best they've got against yours truly, I advertised Brain Force 6 months ago. Everybody in Silicon Valley takes some kind of nootropic. This isn't like some hokey snake oil. I mean, Joe Rogan built his entire podcast on selling his version of the exact same product. You're gonna go after Joe Rogan too? Absolutely incredible that they had all these massive hissy fits over me making an ad for Brain Force. Well, here I'm making another one right now. You're gonna get triggered over this? Good. We'll sell even more bottles of it. You're literally making InfoWars and me money with your autistic hissy fits. Carry on with your autistic screeching, because it's a lot funnier from my perspective. If that's all you've got, it's quite pathetic at this point. Get your Brain Force right now. Brain Force Plus, personally recommended by me at InfoWarsStore.com.
And now get Brain Force Plus at 50% off for a limited time at InfoWarsStore.com.